Vanakkam, Namaskaram. The South Indian is here and bringing you what is brewing in the country even as you and I speak. I.N.D.I.A, the acronym for Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, a bloc of 26 opposition parties, is in Mumbai for the third national level two-day conclave with the single intent of defeating the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party led government at the centre in 2024, and at the kernel of it all is a man called Narendra Modi. Even as the meeting is to begin in a while, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi is scheduled to kickstart the session with a press conference, and we shall bring you the latest on what exactly does Rahul Gandhi say. This is of course the first meeting since Rahul Gandhi was reinstated as a member of parliament earlier this month. The Mumbai agenda includes unveiling a logo, appointment of coordinators and finalising the formal structure and architecture of the grouping, basically readying the bloc for facing 2024 elections. In their last meeting in Bengaluru, the representatives from 26 parties had attended the meeting, but this time around there are indications that that number is most likely to go up. Ahead of the meeting, Communist Party of India, that is CPI General Secretary D. Raja, reiterated on the primary objective of the alliance, which is, like I said, to defeat the BJP. And this is what he said.
You see, the primary objective of the India alliance is to fight collectively and defeat BJP in order to save the nation, save the constitution, save democracy and secularism, federalism, etc. And country is in great trouble. Country is in multiple crises, and country has to be liberated from the clutches of BJP, RSS combined. That is the primary objective of the opposition coming together. And we had a meeting at Patna. We declared our common resolve, Desh Bachao, BJP Hatao. In Bengaluru, we had a meeting, and the alliance was formed formally, and a joint statement was adopted identifying issues starting from Manipur to all other issues. Now, this Mumbai meeting will be a step forward, and this will strengthen the opposition unity. That is why BJP is getting jittery. Mr. Modi is getting desperate. One should take note. And 2024 elections will be a critical election for the country and its future. We are confident that BJP will be removed from power.
What are we Indians without food, which is a very, very major element at any major function or event? So, lunch is also on the anvil for all the delegates tomorrow, and sources are telling us that there could perhaps be a discussion during the working lunch on a very crucial matter, and that being seat sharing. The lunch is expected to be followed by a gala dinner to be hosted by Shiva Sena President Uddhav Thackeray. Meanwhile, the opposition slammed the India bloc, calling it hypocritical and arrogant.
एक कहावत है हिंदी में, देखिए, अगर आपको विकास का एक ताना बाना बुनना है देश में, इफ यू वांट टू रियली हैव डेवलपमेंट इन दिस कंट्री, विकास का ताना बाना बुनना है इस देश में, तो आपके पास नीति की सूत होनी चाहिए, नियत का कपास होना चाहिए और नेता रूपी जुलाहा होना चाहिए। अगर ये तीनों होंगे, सूत होगा, कपास होगा, जुलाहा होगा, तभी विकास की बुनाई होगी। यहां न नीति है, न नेता है, न नियत है, और इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं, आज की ये जो घमंडिया मीटिंग मुंबई में होने वाली है, इस मीटिंग को अगर एक हिंदी के मुहावरे में कहा जाए तो वो मुहावरा होगा, न सूत न कपास, जुलाहों में लट्ठम लट्ठा। न सूत न कपास, न नीति न नियत, और जुलाहों में लट्ठम लट्ठा, सारे नेता लट्ठम लट्ठा, मैं पीएम, तू नहीं मैं, यही करने वाले हैं। न सूत न कपास, जुलाहों में लट्ठम लट्ठा, न नीति न नियत, नेताओं में लट्ठम लट्ठा। आज जीएम मीटिंग का कुल मिलाकर के अगर निष्कर्ष और समरी बनाया जाए तो यही।
Very poetic there, Dr. Sambit Patra. Let's try and understand what's on the agenda of the bloc and whether it shall all tie up to that single point agenda of defeating Narendra Modi in 2024. In the studio, my colleague Brijesh Pandey to decode all of it for us. Before we start, please, that Lattham Lattha which happened, considering I am the South Indian, a lot of people may not understand. You are from Allahabad. Would request you to please decode it,
See,
the Lattham Lattha for us.
Basically, what he was trying to say was that, you know, there are too many probables for the post of Prime Minister. There are too many candidates for the post of Prime Minister. Hence, this coalition can't last beyond a given point, and they will fight among themselves and the coalition will implode. This is the sum and total of what he meant by Julao mein Lattham Lattha.
Oh, very good. So, I just want to know, taking it from there, there are serious concerns, of course. Maybe, you know, we should wait a bit, but then before Mr. Rahul Gandhi makes an appearance, considering he's rather late, isn't he? So, let's speak about, you know, this whole Lattham Lattha or tu main, and look at this. I'm looking at it from the prism of the South Indians first. Stalin and Siddaramaiah are fighting over Kaveri. You know that it's gone very, very bitter right now. D.K. Shivakumar has sought legal opinion, so has Tamil Nadu. But here in Mumbai, they will stand next to each other and of course raise their hands, and there will be a front page picture. Also, we have Mr. Arvind Kejriwal there, who's also arrived. There are sources which are saying that not many people are in favor of Mamata Banerjee. So, explain it to us that does the single point agenda of defeating Narendra Modi, will it overtake everything?
So that if I may use the term, it's called, like, you know, this divided by personal ambitions, but united by the fear of ED and CBI. I think, you know, there are too many things which are going against the opposition leaders, which will force them to, you know, part with their respective egos, ambitions, their desire to have the bigger say as far as this India coalition bloc is concerned. And I think ultimately that is what is going to prevail. You know, there are people who are against the Congress party, and I think, you know, the Congress party till now has made the smartest move, in the sense that, if you remember, you know, a couple of months back, Rahul Gandhi said that we are prepared to do or make or any or all kind of, compromises or willing to let go of post and all. The Congress has done this till now, because, you know, Sonia Gandhi was given the post, or was offered the post of chairperson of this India bloc, and she refused. Chances are that, you know, Mallikarjun Kharge will also very politely decline the offer. Rahul Gandhi has repeatedly been saying that he's not in the race or any kind of reckoning for the post of Prime Minister, because the Congress wants this alliance to succeed at all cost, irrespective of who becomes the Prime Minister. Now, if you look at Stalin, if you look at D.K. Shivakumar, they may fight each other like anything over Kaveri, but the fact of the matter is that they have ED, you know, snapping on their heels, and this is one scenario which both of them would like to avoid at all cost. You know, DK went to jail for that. So nobody would want a repeat of that. And I think, you know, it is this larger fear is something which is going to, make sure that all of them sit together and thrash out their differences.
You know, what you say, it seems as if there is this whole kind of moralistic larger good of the nation, keeping the sectarian forces out. Also, what is very, very essential in a vibrant democracy is to push back your opposition. I think the ED and the investigative agencies seem to be, that is the sword which is hanging around most necks here.
Yes, it does. And you know, I mean, most of the political parties, you know, I mean, we may accuse them of 50 things, but the fact of the matter is that everybody is in the play for power.
Yes.
Nobody says that, you know, if I become the Prime Minister, I will sit at a 5-room bedroom and not, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that it is basically, it's about power. And the fact is that, yes, Narendra Modi's ascension as a massive political entity in a country called India is on the rise, and it has not shown any sign of diminution. And I think that is what has forced all of these opposition parties to get together. Fighting sectarian violence and you know, working for the good of the country and all is all good sound bites and all. But I think, you know, the real reason is that the opposition has also realized that there is not one single party which can defeat the BJP today as we speak. And this compulsion or this desire to see to it that if he gets the third term, it might as well, you know, be kind of obituary for many of the political parties or their regional satraps leader. This is what has forced them to come together. You know, I mean, otherwise, who would have thought before that you know that Shiv Sena and a Congress party will come together,
can sit together and break bread. Yes,
but today
you know,
all of them are together.
Yeah. So talking about, you spoke about Mallikarjun Kharge. Now this meeting is also to, you know, choose the convener. Now Mallikarjun Kharge, very clear. Even Sonia Gandhi is against Mr. Kharge actually putting his name in front. The two other names, Rishish Pandey. Tell the viewers, Mamata Banerjee or Nitish Babu. Nitish Babu is known as Palturam, someone who is not politically reliable. You have known that, you know, how many times he's jumped. What do you think? You think that Mamata in that case stands a better chance than Nitish Babu, or you think both may not be the contenders?
Well, I think, you know, if you ask me to pick one person between the two of them, I think Nitish Kumar stands a better chance for the simple reason that he's far more acceptable. You know, he knows most of the leader, he shares, you know, good rapport with them. And if you remember, you know, he was one of the first to start what do you call this coming together of the opposition group. So he was one of the first one, and there are many who are very comfortable with him. It's not like that, you know, he evokes the kind of aura which Mamata Banerjee does. I think, you know, what the bloc can also do is to divide it, or like, you know, have more than one coordinator, where, you know, you have coordinators for various states, like 4-5 states clubbed together, and one person being the head of that particular state. Then they are also likely to get to form a committee of, you know, 11 members or more, which can look into all these details or nitty-gritties of, you know, which state to fight, how many parties are going to be, like, you know, effective in this thing, what is the caste combination, how do we go about, you know, fielding one united candidate. There are like plethora of issues which are very, very critical for you to fight and more than fight, to win election from that particular state. And I think the most important thing which the India bloc is also is very acutely aware of is the fact that election is just around the corner. It's 8-9 months. So
yeah,
it's not that like you have enough time to formulate, dwell, mull over the strategy and take a decision over a period of time. If you want to have a decision, it has to come in the next 15-20 days. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be very late for them.
You know, Brijesh, whenever there is a talk of, we've all become very politically cynical also, and I include myself to be with the people, Brijesh. Whenever there is talk about third front, we all say, okay, yet another one, let's move on. And particularly since 2014, where this Modi juggernaut has been only, you know, propelling every political decision in this country. Now tell me something, but did something happen after Karnataka win? Do you think the fabulous victory of Congress, which almost took victory from the jaws of the BJP according to some experts because of Bajrang Bali, thanks to him and other reasons, do you think something shifted at that time? Tomorrow when you're sitting down here and looking at it in retrospective fashion, will you quote Karnataka?
Oh, I will. 100%, because, you know, what Karnataka did was that Karnataka gave the hope that yes, irrespective of the that the might which the BJP fights the election, and the BJP fights the election very seriously. I mean, you have to give it to them. Yeah. So, you know, right from Prime Minister, many believe that, you know, the Prime Minister should not come and fight this thing or do this last leg of massive campaigning, put his face. What if we might lose the election? But, you know, then there's no stopping him. Where you win, you lose, but, you know, you have to fight the election in a very aggressive manner.
Yes, true.
So, I think, you know, defeating the BJP and the margin of the defeat, it buoyed the Congress. And, you know, if you remember, if you analyze the situation from that time till this time, it has worked wonders for the stock of the Congress party, because the margin was so decisive and clear that it actually gave hope to people that, you know, that if they unite, or if they fight very aggressively, if they fight united, they would be in a position to defeat the BJP. And I think this is the reason why post Karnataka, or if you look at the last 4-5 days of utterances, Karnataka has been quoted most extensively, even in the last yesterday's press conference by Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar.
And meanwhile, that is Jairam Ramesh along with Rahul Gandhi, the press conference
I think I would like to make a very interesting point there here, Sudha. What we've been given to understand is that he's going to speak about Adani.
Yes, that's
and
true.
The man who is also there, Sharad Pawar, has openly defended Adani. So
yes.
What will happen post this press conference is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
सवाल प्रधानमंत्री से पूछे हम अडानी के हैं कौन श्रृंखला में, वो बिल्कुल साबित हो गए हैं, और आज के खुलासे के बारे में और जानकारी और अपनी टिप्पणियां राहुल जी अभी देंगे. राहुल जी.
Thank you. Thank you, Jairam ji. I'd like to welcome all of you here. I believe there was some confusion about the timing, so I apologize for that. I'm sorry you had to wait. Of course, the current flavor is the G20, and the G20 is about India's position in the world. And what is very important for a country like India is that there is a level playing field and transparency in our economic environment and with regards to the businesses that operate in our country. This morning, two prominent global financial newspapers have raised a very important question. So that's the Financial Times, and you can see right on top, Adani Group, hidden investors and a secret paper trail. Here is another one, The Guardian, Modi linked Adani family, secretly invested in own shares, documents suggest. And the third one, a wealthy Indian family with links to Modi invested in own shares. Now, these are not any random newspapers. These are newspapers that affect investment in India. They affect the perception of our country in the rest of the world. There are a few questions that they are asking. These newspapers are asking. First of all, they are stating clearly that over $1 billion of money went from India, was circulated in different places, and then came back to India. This is, according to them, clearly proved with documentation that they have. Right? So the question, first question arises, whose money is this? ये किसका पैसा है? ये अदानी जी का पैसा है या ये किसी और का पैसा है? So that is the first question. Second question, the mastermind behind this is a gentleman called Adani. He is the brother of Mr. Gautam Adani, and there are two other people who are involved in this round tripping of money. One is a gentleman called Nasser Ali Shaban Ali, and another is a Chinese gentleman called Chang Chung Ling. So the second question arises, why are these two foreign nationals being allowed to play with the valuation of one of the companies that controls almost all of Indian infrastructure? Who are these people? And why are they being allowed to do this? And what is the role of the brother of Mr. Adani in all this? The final point, which is a very interesting point, is that there was an investigation, evidence was given to SEBI, and SEBI gave a clean chit to Mr. Adani. And it's very interesting to note that the gentleman, the same gentleman who gave a clean chit to Mr. Adani, is today a director in NDTV. So it is very clear that there is something very wrong here. Now, we are trying to show the world that we are a transparent economy. We are trying to show the world and our businesses that India has a level playing field. The question, of course, is why is this one gentleman who is close to the Prime Minister of India allowed to move $1 billion to pump up his share price, to use that money to capture Indian assets, airports, ports. Why is there no investigation taking place? It's very important that the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, clears his name and categorically explains what is going on. At the very least, a JPC should be allowed and a thorough investigation should take place. I don't understand why the Prime Minister is not forcing an investigation. Why is he quiet? Why doesn't he say that he is going to make sure that this issue is investigated and the people who are responsible are put behind bars? So this is raising a very serious question on the Indian Prime Minister just before leaders of the G20 are coming here, are going to be our guests, and they're going to be asking the question, what is this special company? This company that is owned by a gentleman close to the Prime Minister, why is it that in an economy like India, this gentleman is being given a free ride? They're going to ask this question, and I think it's very important that this matter is made clear before they arrive. Hindi. देखिए G20 का समय है, अलग अलग देशों से यहां लीडर्स आ रहे हैं और आज सुबह एक बहुत गंभीर मामला उठाया गया है। दो फाइनेंशियल न्यूज़पेपर्स में, दुनिया के जो मशहूर फाइनेंशियल न्यूज़पेपर्स हैं, ये गार्डियन न्यूज़पेपर है, इसमें साफ लिखा है जो मोदी लिंक्ड अदानी फैमिली सीक्रेटली इन्वेस्टेड इन ओन शेयर्स, डॉक्यूमेंट सजेस्ट। मतलब एक परिवार जो मोदी जी के बहुत करीब है, उसने अपने शेयर में अपना पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया शेयर प्राइस को इन्फ्लेट करने के लिए। दूसरा यहां फाइनेंशियल टाइम्स अखबार है, इसमें लिखा है हिडन इन्वेस्टर्स एंड अ सीक्रेट पेपर ट्रेल। और ये गार्डियन की अंदर का पेज है, वेल्थी इंडियन फैमिली विद लिंक्स टू मोदी इन्वेस्टेड इन ओन शेयर्स। मतलब $1 बिलियन हिंदुस्तान से अदानी जी की कंपनी के नेटवर्क के थ्रू अलग अलग देशों में गया और फिर वापस आया, और उस पैसे से अदानी जी ने जो उनकी शेयर प्राइस थी उसको बढ़ाया, इन्फ्लेट किया, और उस फायदे से हिंदुस्तान का जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, जो अदानी जी एयरपोर्ट्स खरीद रहे हैं, पोर्ट्स खरीद रहे हैं, अभी यहां धारावी में शायद उनको बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट मिला है, तो ये सब जो हिंदुस्तान के जो एसेट्स हैं, जो पूंजी हैं, जो अदानी जी खरीद रहे हैं, वो इस पैसे से शेयर प्राइस को इन्फ्लेट करके खरीद रहे हैं। तो ये सवाल इन्होंने उठाया है और उन्होंने कहा है कि उनके पास सबूत है, पेपर ट्रेल है, इंटरनल ईमेल्स हैं, डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं। तो सबसे पहले सवाल उठता है, ये जो पैसा यूज किया जा रहा है, ये किसका है? ये अदानी जी का है या ये किसी और का है? और अगर किसी और का है तो वो किसका है? ये सबसे पहला सवाल है। दूसरा सवाल है कि इस काम को करने के लिए मास्टरमाइंड विनोद अदानी जी हैं, जो उनके भाई हैं, गौतम अदानी जी के भाई हैं, मगर उनके साथ उनके दो बिजनेस पार्टनर और हैं। एक का नाम नासिर अली शबान अली और दूसरा चैंग चुंग लिंग चाइना का है। तो दूसरा सवाल यह उठता है कि जब अदानी जी हिंदुस्तान का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खरीदे जा रहे हैं, तो ये जो चाइनीज नेशनल है, ये इसमें कैसे इन्वॉल्व है? इसका क्या रोल है? इसने क्या किया? ये साबित होना चाहिए। ये दूसरा सवाल। और ये जो फॉरेन नेशनल्स हैं, ये हिंदुस्तान की शेयर मार्केट को कैसे मैनिपुलेट कर रहे हैं? ये सवाल क्यों नहीं पूछा जा रहा है? नेशनल सिक्योरिटी का मामला है। अदानी जी डिफेंस में काम करते हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में काम करते हैं, एयरपोर्ट स्पोर्ट्स में काम करते हैं। तो ये जो दो फॉरेन नेशनल्स हैं, खासतौर ये जो चाइनीज आदमी है चैंग चुंग लिंग, इसका क्या रोल है? ये दूसरा सवाल। और तीसरा सवाल, जो सेबी का इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुआ था जिसने क्लीन चिट दी, जिस व्यक्ति ने इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया और जिसने क्लीन चिट दी, आज वो अदानी जी का जो चैनल है NDTV, उसका डायरेक्टर है। तो मतलब ये एक नेटवर्क है। इसमें आपको इंस्टीट्यूशनल कैप्चर दिख रहा है, सेबी का चेयरमैन क्लीन चिट देता है और उसके एकदम बाद अदानी जी की कंपनी में डायरेक्टर बन जाता है। इंटरनेशनल मामला है, स्टॉक मार्केट को इन्फ्लेट किया जा रहा है और उस इन्फ्लेट करने के बाद उससे हिंदुस्तान के एसेट्स खरीदे जा रहे हैं। तो सवाल ये उठता है, इसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री कुछ क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? शांत क्यों है? यहां पे फॉरेन न्यूज़पेपर्स ने साफ कहा है, वेल्थी इंडियन फैमिली विद लिंक्स टू मोदी। मतलब अखबार कह रहा है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी का अदानी जी का रिश्ता है। सवाल उठता है, क्या रिश्ता है? और ये जो एजेंसीज हैं, CBI है, ED है, ये अदानी जी पर रिसर्च क्यों नहीं कर रही हैं? ये अदानी जी को इंटेरोगेट क्यों नहीं कर रही हैं? ये सवाल उठता है। हिंदुस्तान का रेप्यूटेशन लाइन पे है। G20 हो रहा है, हम कहते हैं कि यहां पे लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड है, हिंदुस्तान ट्रांसपेरेंट है, यहां पे भ्रष्टाचार नहीं है। और उन सबके सामने जब वो यहां आ रहे हैं, उनके सामने ये उदाहरण है, $1 बिलियन यहां से जा रहा है, स्टॉक प्राइस इन्फ्लेट की जा रही है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और एसेट्स खरीदे जा रहे हैं। जिसने इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया उसको अदानी जी ने मतलब अपनी कंपनी में नौकरी दे दी। तो ये हिंदुस्तान की इमेज को डैमेज कर रहा है और इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री को एकदम एक्शन लेना चाहिए और कहना चाहिए कि हां, हम JPC लागू करेंगे, JPC इसको इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी और फुल स्केल इन्वेस्टिगेशन होगा अदानी जी का। थैंक यू।
एक चिल्लाइए मत प्लीज, चिल्लाइए मत, मैं आऊंगा। चिल्लाइए मत। अरे संजीव, मैंने संजीव को बुलाया, प्लीज आपका टर्न आएगा, आप इंतजार कीजिए।
I mean, what is amazing to me is that the gentleman who has done the investigation, right, he is today an employee of Mr. Adani. What does that tell you about the nature of investigation that the gentleman did? Right? So, it is pretty clear that no investigation took place, and the only reason no investigation took place is because the Prime Minister didn't want an investigation to take place. Mr. Adani cannot stop an investigation. The Prime Minister can. With regards to the India alliance, this is a national issue. This is not an issue of any one party. This is a national issue. This is an issue that affects India's reputation, right? Especially because now there is the G20 taking place, and India's reputation and the Prime Minister's reputation is on the line. There are 20 guests coming, and right in front of them, two of the biggest financial dailies in the world have said that the Prime Minister is involved with Mr. Adani.
सवाल
नहीं, इशू एक ही है। इशू ये है कि आज हिंदुस्तान में कोई लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड नहीं है। अदानी जी हैं, वो हिंदुस्तान के कोई भी एसेट को खरीद सकते हैं, चाहे वो धारावी हो, मुंबई एयरपोर्ट हो, सीमेंट कंपनी हो, डिफेंस कंपनी हो। मैंने अपने भाषण में कहा था प्रधानमंत्री फॉरेन टूर पे जाते हैं, अदानी जी उनके साथ जाते थे, उसके एकदम बाद उनको अदानी जी को बड़े बड़े कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स मिल जाते हैं। तो सवाल लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड का है। सिर्फ एक व्यक्ति को प्रधानमंत्री इस प्रकार से क्यों प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, और एक व्यक्ति हिंदुस्तान के सब एसेट खरीद रहा है, और क्लियरली उस व्यक्ति ने कुछ गलत तो किया है। $1 बिलियन यहां से गए हैं, किसका पैसा है प्रधानमंत्री को पता लगाना चाहिए किसका है, और देश को यह पता चलना चाहिए है किसका पैसा।
अभी हो गया
थैंक यू ब्रदर। नहीं, देखिए, हमने ये रेज किया है क्योंकि यहां पे G20 हो रहा है और हिंदुस्तान की रेप्यूटेशन की बात है, ठीक है। और ये बिल्कुल क्लैरिटी से बोला इन्होंने। ये कह रहे हैं कि इनके पास डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं, इनके पास ईमेल्स हैं, $1 बिलियन यहां से गया है और वापस आया है, उसके माध्यम से शेयर प्राइस बढ़ाई गई है, और उस शेयर प्राइस के बढ़ाने से हिंदुस्तान के एसेट्स खरीदे गए। तो मैं तो इसको रोज उठा रहा हूं, जब भी चांस मिलता है मैं इसको उठाता हूं, और हम उठाते जाएंगे।
यस मैम,
राहुल जी पीछे से भी सवाल लीजिए।
यस मैम।
पीछे से भी लीजिए सर, सब आगे से ही सवाल ले रहे हैं, पीछे से भी लीजिए।
Maybe I think it's an indicator of a little panic. Same type of panic that happened when I spoke in Parliament House. Panic that suddenly made them revoke my Parliament membership. So I think it is panic because these matters are very close to the Prime Minister. And whenever you touch the Adani matter, the Prime Minister gets very uncomfortable and very nervous.
राहुल जी यहाँ से सवाल लीजिए। राहुल जी पीछे से सब आगे से ही सवाल ले रहे हैं सर, पीछे भी रिपोर्टर्स बैठे हैं, जनाब जी पीछे भी बैठे हैं लोग।
Hello. I don't think there's any difference in opinion. We are very clear. A JPC should be called, and this matter needs to be investigated. This is a matter of India's reputation, India's global reputation. It should be investigated.
राहुल जी, अडानी ग्रुप की तरफ से दलील दी गई है। राहुल जी यहाँ राहुल जी इधर, राहुल आपके लेफ्ट तरफ, राहुल जी
पीछे भी देखिए, राहुल जी पीछे भी देखिए।
एक सवाल एक समय। हाँ जी,
सर आप रोज कह रहे हैं, राहुल जी आप कह रहे हैं कि रोजाना सवाल आप पूछ रहे हैं।
देखिए, मैं दोहरा रहा हूं कि ये हिंदुस्तान के रेपुटेशन का मामला है, ठीक है। हमारे सामने G20 है, यहां पे दुनिया के लीडर्स आ रहे हैं और यहां पे प्रधानमंत्री पे डायरेक्टली सवाल उठाया गया है। एंड प्राइम मिनिस्टर शुड कम क्लीन। प्राइम मिनिस्टर शुड से यस, आई अनाउंस अ JPC, आई अनाउंस एन इन्वेस्टिगेशन इनटू मिस्टर अदानी, आई अनाउंस एन इन्वेस्टिगेशन इनटू दिस, क्या नाम है उसका चाइनीज वाले का, Chang Chung Ling. I announce an investigation into this Chang Chung Ling man and also into this Nasser Ali Shaban Ali man. Right? So this is the duty of the Prime Minister.
शुक्रिया, आप लोग सब चाय के लिए आमंत्रित हैं।
Thank you very much.
So there you had it. He has finished the press conference and trained his gun singularly on Adani. Brijesh Pandey, my colleague, is still with me in the studio to decode. A lot of people are asking that even as the opposition India bloc is getting all ready to meet and kickstart their session in Mumbai, Brijesh Pandey, what's with the Adani preamble to the meeting?
Well, I mean, since we played the press conference of Rahul Gandhi, where he has said that, he talked about the expose which has been done by Financial Times. In the morning, Adani Group came out with a rebuttal. Adani Group came out with a press release, and they said that, that we categorically reject these recycled allegations. These news report appears to be yet another concerted bid by Soros-funded interests supported by a section of the foreign media to revive the meritless Hindenburg report. In fact, this was anticipated as was reported by the media last week. These claims are based on closed cases from a decade ago when the DRI probed allegations of over-invoicing, transfer of funds abroad, related party transactions and investment through FPIs. So basically, Adani Group is saying that these are mere, recycling or regurgitating the same old stuff. But I think, Rahul Gandhi, based on the expose which has been carried by Financial Times, so the feels that he has got a handle to hit out at the Modi government, and that is the reason why he has said that this is something which has been talking about for a long time, about how Adani Group is indulging in these kind of activities, as was stated by the Hindenburg report, which led to a massive loss of worth as far as Adani Group is concerned. So
I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Please. What's that got to do with the price of onions, like they say? The thing is that your opposition bloc is meeting to strategize about 2024. This metaphor of Adani seems to be a complete jump cut in all this, is what people are saying. You yourself have to solve the problems that are there in the so-called third meeting of the opposition bloc. Why is it that this has suddenly been brought about?
Well, I think, since he has been talking about Gautam Adani has been hitting out at Adani Group for a very long time. And, as every new investigation or every new expose comes, it's like kind of a revalidation of what he's trying to say. So as a politician, he too, feel that this issue is completely in sync with what he has to to say. So I think, if anybody was at his place, he too wouldn't have resisted having a pot shot or taking a pot shot at either Prime Minister or at the Adani Group. So he's basically doing that.
Yeah, but all these that he spoke about and about tracing it back, and he said that how come, all these, which I will read out in a bit, but then Kartik Malhotra, my senior colleague, is here, and thank God, Kartik, so that you can decode. Hi, guy, good to see you. Kartik, just all this that he's talking about, which Rahul spoke about, how over $1 billion went from India and circulated and came back to India. He said, whose money is it? Whose dollars are these? We know the Adani, brother of Gautam Adani's involvement. Then two foreign nationals, Nasser Ali and one Chinese national,
Chang Chong Ling.
I hope I got it right. It's a pretty tongue twister. Who are these foreign nationals? SEBI gives Mr. Adani a clean chit, and now at a very, very well-known television channel, that SEBI individual apparently is a director.
Yeah, you're talking about now, Mr. UK Sinha here.
It reads like a a novel. So I want you to decode it. That first of all, is it kind of old news that is it from the slush pile that he's once again peddling, as the Adanis have said?
Okay, so let's start from the basics. What really happened on 24th of Jan? We had Adani Group, the entire group of Adani Enterprises, Adani Power, Adani Ports. There was a market capitalization of the entire Adani Group at about $238 billion. It was a large, still continues to be a fairly large conglomerate, but $238 billion. And came Jan 24th, when the Hindenburg research report came out, alleging the stock manipulation by the Adani Group stocks and promoters, the linkages between the promoters. We saw over a consecutive period of 4 or 5 months, the stocks were tanking. And Adani, the group, lost a market capitalization of about $150 billion. Now, that of course is a huge piece of massive hit on the valuation, not just of the promoters, but every shareholder invested in that company. Cut to about 7 months later, what came out in the papers today internationally and in the wires today and everything that we've seen develop over time, is there, number one, is there anything new which has come out from OCCRP? One way to look at it is that OCCRP has been able to penetrate through the opaque structures which SEBI had hit as a wall.
All right. Okay.
SEBI said that we are finding it very difficult. We don't have jurisdiction outside of Indian borders. We perhaps know which are the companies which have engaged in some sort of stock manipulation, have short sold Adani stocks, but we don't know who's the last beneficiary of these companies. This report today gives us these two names, Nasir Ali Shaban Ali from UAE, and a Chinese national, some agencies also reporting him to be a Taiwanese national, Chang Chung Ling. Now we know these two gentlemen are the final end beneficiaries of whatever the stock manipulation, price manipulation, short selling of Adani stocks has resulted in way of profits. So OCCRP has been able to penetrate those opaque structures. Now, this comes at a time when SEBI was actually due to submit its final report. The preliminary report was already submitted to the Supreme Court last Friday, and this Monday, 29th of August, SEBI was supposed to submit the final report to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Supreme Court postponed the hearing.
Yes.
I think luckily for SEBI, because if SEBI still came out and said that, hey, we've hit opaque structures and we don't know who these final end beneficiaries are, and 2 days later had this report come, it would have been an egg on the SEBI's face. Right. Now coming back to who these two beneficiaries are. Now both of them have in their individual capacities in the past served on the boards of Adani companies, Adani group companies. They have been board members. They have also been close associates of firms which are directly associated with Gautam Adani's older brother, Vinod Adani. Right. So what this is bordering at right now is perhaps some sort of insider trading, because OCCRP states that it has indeed seen email exchanges and it has driven its research on the basis of number crunching on Excel sheets and looking at email exchanges. So it seems like this is some bordering, if not completely insinuating charges of insider trading. But what is still unclear is the fact that did this money actually get invested by the Adani promoters and did it come back into their coffers?
Yeah, which he clearly said that it came back. It came
so that is, I mean, you know, politics has this beautiful way of turning things around.
But does it, you know, Karthik, I'm sorry I'm stopping you here. Fine, it all sounds very incestuous, like you say that it could be insider trading. But you know, Rahul Gandhi, I'm going back to that because he's just gotten over with the press conference to say, how did Modi allow this? Now, I find that rather preposterous. Correct me if I'm wrong. What has Narendra Modi got to do with this so-called? Is it because of the alleged proximity of Mr. Adani with perhaps, you know, the ones who can influence these decisions? Don't you think it seems very far-reaching and rather kind of, you know, shooting in the dark?
Look, Sudha, I think if we were to look at the rise of Gautam Adani and the rise in the market capitalization of the Adani group companies, I mean, I don't know if we can pull up that graph. We had that graph, you know, sometime back. You'll see that it's only since 2011-12 that the Adani group stocks started raking in a little bit of valuation. What you saw from 2013-2014 onwards is that little turf going up, and you saw an astronomical rise up until 2020, and between 2020 and Jan 24th, 2023 this year, you saw it almost become a vertical graph up. Immediately after the report came, it tanked. Now, if you were to look at data specifically, juxtapose this data of the rise of Adani stocks until 24th of Jan this year, these have been the years that the BJP has been in power. Add to that more conjecture. I'm not saying there is a direct correlation. This is conjecture.
Exactly. We need to clarify that.
This is conjecture. Right. Now, add to this the fact that Gautam Adani and the Adani group of companies is housed in Gujarat.
Yeah, both
So
of them
even
are
at a
from
time,
Gujarat.
right?
Yeah,
even at a
they
time
even
when
know each other.
Adani was coming out of nowhere, and we started hearing of the term Adani, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat and a long-serving Chief Minister of Gujarat. So this is all in the realm of conjecture. Now, should an independent investigation have been ordered? Well, it was ordered.
Yeah, but
who's the market regulator? The market regulator is SEBI.
Yeah.
Should there have been some raids on the Adani offices or something? Like there have been, again conjecture, there have been raids anytime there has been, an issue of evasion, tax evasion, GST evasion, etc.
The lady from the south, I'm just not able to remember her name. That's how much interested I am in all finance and all that. I'm sorry.
You're talking about Chitra Ramakrishna, the NSE.
Bang on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was a different case.
Was it anything to do with insider trading or not at all?
So, that was actually in the realm of more of spirituality and a spiritual guru.
That was an OTT.
But that was also an insider's influence to help somebody who could have been a Baba or something. I'm just saying, if others were hounded,
there are truckloads
you are
of
saying maybe
of insider trading.
in this case
but again,
also.
who's the governing body there? Stock markets, listed companies are all regulated, governed by SEBI.
Right.
Has the SEBI investigation been on? Yes, it has been on. Has it taken too long? Of course, it has taken far too long. I think the report should have been submitted in July, which was the original due date, and then 14th August, which was the deferred date by when actually the Supreme Court had instructed SEBI that I want to see progress by the 14th of August. And even if you are unable to submit a final report, I want to see where you have headed in your investigation. And the preliminary reports that came in the month of July and even before that, SEBI had mentioned these opaque structures. Okay. And these opaque structures were difficult for SEBI to penetrate into, to understand who these final beneficiaries are. And now we have the names of these two apparent final beneficiaries, allegedly who have profiteered from the fall of or short selling of Adani stocks. Also, and they own these four funds which have invested hundreds and billions of dollars as per the OCCRP report. Right. So they have definitely benefited. But have the Adani promoters also benefited? Has the government of India also benefited? I think we are going really deep into conjectures there.
We are. It's very speculative. But I want to ask you something. Again, in the realm of speculation, if hypothetically this gentleman who is now with a television channel which is owned by
Mr. UK Sinha, we are talking about Mr. UK Sinha. Mr. UK Sinha was a deputy director
but
at
can you connect?
SEBI.
I mean, can that be connected, or do you think
this
that's
is not
bizarre?
For the first time this is happening. See, it has happened several times that the senior government functions immediately after demitting their offices, they have joined corporate boards and all, and there has been a long-standing demand of there be a cooling period, a cooling off period of at least 2 to 3 years before they be allowed to join that. So what has happened in the case of Mr. UK Sinha is not something which is unique. But what makes it very interesting that he is from the SEBI. So
he is in fact the person who had first initiated investigations on account of routing of money into Adani Group companies in 2013. When Adani, if you remember the handwritten graph that I was drawing, Adani was yet to sort of take off exponentially. So there were already allegations that SEBI was investigating right from 2013 onwards, and then further to that, even in 2018 there was an investigation initiated by SEBI, primarily trying to understand what is short selling the Adani stocks and who are these institutions which are investing deeply into short selling Adani.
And this is so interesting that I don't want to really move on, but we have to. And thank you so much, Brajesh. Karthik, thank you very much indeed. What an exciting start to the India bloc meeting, which is about to start in Mumbai. And before I go away, let me tell you, coming up, a documentary. Rising prices, of course, a major crisis across the world. The use of modern crops is among the proposed solutions. But is it truly right to hail it as the key to solving the soaring costs? Watch News9's special documentaries titled Smart New World Sky High Prices. See you on the other side. Vanakkam.
ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हैं क्योंकि